Hello and welcome to the rehearsal. Today we will explain a mystery thriller Recalled which managed to get an IMDb rating of 6.7. The movie begins with a Korean woman Sujin waking up in the hospital. Having been lost all memories of the past, she is told that she got into an accident and was admitted into the hospital by her husband Jin-hoon. Jin-hoon tells her that she is an orphan and has no siblings, so Jin-hoon is the only family she has. She soon gets discharged and Jin-hoon takes her to their apartment. Upon reaching the apartment she notices a painting hung on the wall. It is a painting of a house near a red lake that gets its color due to the sun rays falling on the lake. Jin-hoon tells her that the painting is of a place in Canada. In this scene it is revealed that Jin-hoon is planning on moving to Canada along with Sujin. Next day, Jin-hoon visits the immigration office for interview. Sujin comes across a little girl in the elevator. She tries to talk to the girl and immediately has visions of the girl being hit by a van on the road. She runs after the girl and notices a van approaching her. Sujin jumps in front of the truck to protect the girl. Jin-hoon arrives at the scene and takes her home. He tends to the bruises she got and asks her why she would do that. We see Jin-hoon dragging a suitcase the following night. Next morning two detectives Detective Bae and Ki-sang investigate a site manager about a site that has been abandoned. While sitting in a park Sujin notices the little girl again and follows her to elevator. She gets flashes of the girl being blown up by a gas explosion in her apartment. She runs after the girl to rescue her and calls her husband asking him to come over immediately. The gas explosion occurs knocking her out. She is taken to the hospital. She tells the doctor that she has visions of future. The doctor suggests that she is hallucinating or having visions of things she saw or heard before her accident. Sujin feels as though no one believes her and walks out of the doctor's office. Outside the office she sees the little girl and tells Jin-hoon that she is alive. Jin-hoon cannot see the girl and tells Sujin she is not okay. He takes her to the beach to lighten things up. They spend the day together swimming in the beach water. Next day, the same detectives from site visit Sujin in her apartment. They investigate about her bruises. She tells them she got it from falling off while hiking. They ask her if her husband is abusive, to which she says no. They have her sign some documents and tell her she can call them anytime she needs to. While leaving the apartment they notice Sujin's wedding picture with Jin-hoon and comment that groom is usually on the left. Sujin comes across a high school in the elevator this time and gets vision of her being strangled and abused by a man. She follows the girl up to her apartment to warn her about the bad man in his 50s with scar on his right chin who can hurt the girl. The girl pays no heed and walks into her apartment. Sujin peeps into the girl's apartment and sees the same man from her vision inside the girl's house. Sujin waits outside the girl's apartment and follows her as soon as she comes out. While following the girl, Sujin meets a woman who claims to know Sujin. The woman turns out to be an art director and she tells Sujin that was an art teacher working in her school. She also finds business card of Jin-hoon in her belongings in the school. The art teacher tells her she'll mail her belongings to her apartment. Sujin decides to go to Jin-hoon's office. When she reaches the office a security officer tells her that the office went bankrupt more than 6 months ago and has been shut down. Sujin goes home and asks Jin-hoon if he's moving to Canada because he became bankrupt. He tells her that he did become bankrupt and did not want to worry her, so he didn't tell her. Sujin is now growing suspicious of Jin-hoon and asks her if she is really who he tells her she is. And why didn't he not tell her she was an art teacher? Jin-hoon makes up an excuse. Jin-hoon asks her how did she find way to his office and inquires if she got her memory back. Nevertheless Sujin is now suspicious about him and wants to know if he hiding things from her. The two detectives from before look at a CCTV footage of the only road leading to the site on the date of 13th. They notice the site manager's truck in a black car going that way. Only black car returns and upon zooming in Detective Bae recognizes the guy in the car as Sujin's husband Jin-hoon. The next scene we see Jin-hoon visiting a dirty unknown apartment and looking through drawers. Eventually finding a passport which belongs to Sujin. Meanwhile Sujin receives a box of her belongings from art school and looks through it. She finds pictures of her with another man in the book. She gets to the elevator and comes across the man with scars on his right chin. She hears him talking to someone on call and telling him that he'll traffic his daughter to a bar. She warns the man that if he harms the girl, she will complain the police. The man panics and starts strangling her. When the elevator door opens Sujin jumps out and Jin-hoon comes to her rescue. She starts telling him about the man from Unit 706 and how he will harm his daughter. The site manager tells Detective that Jin-hoon went into hiding after becoming bankrupt. The detectives notice that the construction building has no mesh for safety and anyone can fall off. They connect the dots about how Jin-hoon is Soo-jin's husband and he also had the contract for the unsafe construction building. Site manager asks the detective if Soo-jin is suspect. At night Soo-jin notices Jin-hoon missing from his place and walks out of apartment. She sees that the apartment is on 7th floor unit 706. She goes there and hears loud crying noises from the apartment. She runs to hide when she noticed the doorknob turning. A man walks out of the apartment with a suitcase and drops a locket. The watchman of the building hands over a box of things to Jin-hoon and tells him his wife left it outside the elevator. Next morning Soo-jin asks Jin-hoon where he was last night. Jin-hoon tells her he was sleeping, but of course Soo-jin knows he was not. Soo-jin visits the art director and asks her about what kind of husband Soo-jin was. Upon insisting, she tells her that Soo-jin was planning on divorcing Jin-hoon before her accident and was in depression because of him. She tells him Jin-hoon was possessive and jealous and used to beat her up. Soo-jin asks her if Soo-jin had an affair with another man because Soo-jin saw pictures of herself with another man. Art director tells her that he used to think so but she does not know. Soo-jin starts searching for art box and asks the watchman, who tells her that he gave the box to her husband the night before at 2 a.m. While searching for art box in the apartment, she sees the same locket she saw fall off from the killer when he was dragging the suitcase. She decides to go to the police and tell them about how Jin-hoon killed the man from unit 706. Jin-hoon meanwhile wants to leave for Canada as soon as possible and gets flight book of the same day for both. He sees the Soo-jin is in a police station and drives to the police station where Soo-jin told the police about the murder and hands over the locket to them. Jin-hoon arrives in the police station and Soo-jin points to him and tells them that he is the murderer. Jin-hoon tells the police that she is hallucinating and it has been confirmed by a doctor. The detectives do not believe him, so he takes them to Unit 706. Unit 706 was vacant and never rented out. No one lived in that apartment. The detectives believe Jin-hoon and leave then. Jin-hoon calms down Soo-jin at home and tells her they will go to Canada soon and everything will be okay. He gives her pills to put her to sleep, but she does not eat the pill and sneaks out of home after Jin-hoon leaves. Soo-jin sees a man from the pics with her and she sees another man beating him up. She goes to him and he tells her missed her and tells her to follow him home. At home he searches for some file and tells her to meet at the abandoned site at 8 p.m. Soo-jin immediately has a vision of the man getting killed at the site. She tells him site is dangerous for him, but he does not listen and leaves. After the man leaves, she notices a wedding picture of her and the man and she realizes this is the real Jin-hoon, her husband, and not the one she was living with. Meanwhile, detectives call over site manager to investigate and ask him about how he has been sealing site good and even broke the CCTV camera. The site manager tells them that he only stole good but did nothing with the CCTV camera. In fact, he saw Jin-hoon that night on the site. At the same time, Soo-jin calls the detectives and tells them that a man will be killed at 8 p.m. and tells them to come to the site while she heads to the site too. The detectives shows a pic Jin-hoon to the site manager and he tells them that's not Jin-hoon but Kim Sun-woo. On the other hand, Soo-jin witnesses Kim Sun-woo dragging the real Jin-hoon's body. Jin-hoon confronts him and calls him a murderer while Jin-hoon tells her he's doing it for their good. Just then the detectives arrive and Soo-jin takes them to suitcase lying around and tells them Jin-hoon's body is in it, but they find nothing, just work equipments. The detective starts breaking the cemented area because he is suspicious KF Kim Sun-woo too, and after digging up a bit, a hand falls out with a golden watch on it. Soo-jin tells them that is Jin-hoon's body and arrest Kim Sun-woo. In the investigation room, the detectives reveal Kim Sun-woo is Soo-jin's adoptive brother. Kim Sun-woo says that he killed Jin-hoon because Jin-hoon took loan from him but couldn't pay and he was pretending to be Soo-jin's husband to kill her and take the insurance money. Soo-jin goes to Jin-hoon's apartment believing he is dead, but Jin-hoon walks into the apartment. She calls the detectives telling them Jin-hoon is alive. The detectives and Kim Sun-woo run towards Jin-hoon's apartment. Jin-hoon tells Soo-jin that he did not die but survived. Here the events of the night is revealed. Jin-hoon goes to the site to meet a man he loaned from. The man takes Jin-hoon's golden watch. Jin-hoon drugs the man and kills him. Soo-jin arrives to the site that night. Jin-hoon starts trying to kill Soo-jin too because she witnessed him murdering the other man. He sees a book about Canada emigration falling out of her bag and gets mad at her, strangling her. Kim Sun-woo arrives at the same time and protects her sister by killing Jin-hoon. He then covers his body up with cement. Sujin blames herself for all of this and jumps off. Kim Sung-woo takes her and rushes to hospital. Meanwhile, it is revealed that Jin-hoon survived. Jin-hoon wants to kill Sujin and get the insurance money he couldn't get. She hides from him in his apartment, but he finds her out and hits her with a rod on her knee and then sets the apartment on fire. Kim Sung-woo meets Jin-hoon on his way to the apartment, where he stabs Kim Sung-woo. Sung-woo goes the apartment and covers his sister from the fire blaze until help arrives. The detectives arrest Jin-hoon. When the fire goes out, Sujin wakes up in a hospital and asks her about Sung-woo. They tell her that he died while protecting her and hand her over files of his interview to the immigration officer. In the interview, he reveals that he did everything to go to Canada, where Sujin always wanted to go. Sujin cries and missed her brother. If you like the video, do like and subscribe the channel and comment how you feel about Sujin's brother's sacrifice.